order for the world to develop to the point where it can think and walk on its own, it needs the help of a God's hand. This world is still but a child, you see.
If there was ever a time to embrace every single meme you've ever loved, it's now. I've always loved the Black Air Force Energy meme. And just for the fact that, they're just a pair of fucking shoes, right? But the people who buy those shoes know that there's such a weird diabolical energy tied to those shoes that, no one can blame you for whatever the fuck you do because you were wearing black Air Force Ones. But it's more of the philosophy behind it that I've committed to embracing. And it's something that it's incredibly critical that you understand. Or at least the way I understand it. It's a mistake that I've made for so long in my life that accepting that I made it took me a while. And it didn't happen, overnight. When you're born, you are accommodated for to some degree. But the older you get, the less and less accommodated you become here. The older you get, if you don't end up, working your way up the corporate slave ladder, you basically have to keep justifying why you're taking up space here. Right? As a child, they'll be like, oh, you're a child, you don't know any better, blah, blah, blah. As soon as you turn 18, it's, why aren't you living in your own house with the fucking white picket fence and 3 different cars and, chasing the billionaire grind set dream and just absolute garbage. He doesn't even start at 18 anymore. Do you know how many 14-year-old fucking kids I've seen on YouTube running channels about e-commerce and social media marketing agencies and all these other bullshit scams, right? It starts, and I've made videos about this before. It's horrendously disgusting seeing children being proud of being breadwinners. I think that to me is the defining factor of a failed society is children being celebrated for the fact that they are the breadwinners. That to me will always be the defining factor of a failed society. It's either that or fetishizing the fact that they're child soldiers. Right? And this is something that, again, is so common to the West. Because, back in my grandfather's day, they used to die at 12 years old. And now look at the new generation. They don't have any wars to fucking be sacrificed over, There are child soldiers right now. There are children who are born specifically with the intent of becoming the breadwinners for their families. It happens all the fucking time, all over the world, and it's nothing to celebrate a society for that being such a prevalent phenomenon. And, it's a long-winded way of me saying that by default, by nature, I accommodate other people because it just seems like something so natural to me. And yeah, I guess it's also maybe the way I was raised, right? Maybe it's just my natural disposition, but also the way I was raised helped amplify that. If I have something and I can share with someone, why shouldn't I? If they're feeling uncomfortable, and I can do something to make them feel less uncomfortable, why wouldn't I, And that is, it's generally a good way to live your life, just you give people the kind of treatment that you'd want to receive, right? But it quickly falls into a lot of problems because not everyone will ever treat you the same way you treat them. And, what keeps you being you in that sense, what keeps you continuing to do that is your own personal code, right? It's your own code. It's your own moral compass. And there's benefits to it, and especially important, there's always trade-offs to it, right? I had to realize, and I'm still realizing, just how much I've limited myself and the people around me by how much I accommodate them. This is probably carrying on from my last video. I wouldn't say it just extends to my parents. It extends to the people around me. Like, there are people who I don't mind accommodating for because they've also done the same for me, even more. But the vast majority, when you give them that level of comfortability, it turns into entitlement incredibly quickly. Like, incredibly, you won't notice it happening, but it will become, the moment you don't feel like you can do it that day, or, it even just takes one time. You could do it like several times in a row, but the one time you don't do it, you're all of a sudden a villain. You're all of a sudden, you've betrayed them in a way, you've let them down. And you've had no obligation to do it, by the way. And me, cutting off those ties, cutting off that compulsion, I've really seen the real world effects of it because, I can't pretend to not be angry anymore. I cannot pretend to not be emotional anymore. I can't force myself into doing things that I found so easy to do before because I realized what I'm doing. And I don't care how I fucking look. I don't care how I fucking get perceived, right? Because ultimately, it's on me. Like, it's on me to decide who the fuck deserves to be accommodated by me. And the sad fact about this place is you have to reach a level of ruthlessness to thrive here that will hollow you out completely. You ask the average person, how much money is enough? How much money is enough for you? How much sex? How much, how many indulgences are really enough for you? And I'm not, I really hope I don't come off as like prudish or like, overly stoic, right? I definitely do believe quite a bit in stoicism, and of recently I've been reading more into Buddhism. I could probably say I realized I was following the Eightfold Path most of my life unconsciously, and I personally believe indulgences are good. They're great even, right? Even the ones that are destructive to your health. As much as I will preach against them, I also realize that those indulgences are the reasons why so many people haven't like killed themselves en masse. It's the simple truth. All of the high performing careers are all full of sex addicted druggies, basically. And I don't blame them, right? Have you ever met like a chef, even a new one, let alone even like a professional one for the last 10, 15, whatever years, right? A chef, a pilot, a doctor, all these high performing careers, you will find so many of them are just chronically addicted to something or several other things. And that to me is a symptom. It is not a fault on these people. It is a symptom of how sick this fucking place is. You literally have to be drugged up out of your fucking mind to be able to function well enough. Well enough to make enough money to barely survive. You know, people who work in like hospitality, you know, food service, hats off to you. Hats fucking off to you. I couldn't do that. Like, I could do that, but I'd get so irritated so often, I'd end up punching someone. You know, I can't imagine the horrific life the average McDonald's worker lives. It's a tragedy. It's a real fucking tragedy. And my question is, why do you need to keep being so accommodative? Why do you need, this isn't, why do you need to keep doing? I understand why people need to keep doing these things. I understand why I need to keep doing some of these things. But mentally speaking, why do you have to keep accommodating it? Why not just be the fucking asshole for once? Because to me, people, they say selfish people are assholes. They say people who are, people who are self-centered are assholes. And at the same time, so much of the media, so much of entertainment, so much of culture is centered around self-centered, selfish-ass people, right? Look at fucking religion. Ego fucking maniacs. Like, barbaric egomaniacs still have a vice grip on the minds of billions of people. Right? What I'm saying when I talk how I'm embracing this Black Air Force energy, I'm no longer giving into the compulsions to accommodate people's feelings, especially. You can't control somebody's feelings. Sometimes you can't even control your own feelings. You can control how you react to things, but you can't really control your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings. It's just, how you were molded, how you have been molded, and how you feel towards that thing will always be there. You can condition yourself to react in a different way to understand it better, but it'll always be there. And, to me, I've turned the tide myself. I have decided myself that I'm going to get what I'm worth. I'm going to get out what I put in, but most importantly, what I'm worth. And if you don't understand you as an individual, as a sentient being, heck, even as a creator of value, right? Your labor, whatever you want to say. If you don't understand the power that you have in your hands, that you have in your possession as a creator of value right now, you're in for a hard time. A terribly, terribly fucking hard time. You have to get what you're worth. If you want to survive in this place in a way that is dignified to you, you have to get what you're worth. And maybe it's me fighting with that concept because at the same time, the desire to just walk off and live in some uninhabited mountains somewhere and just like drink tea the whole day, it's always there, right? I'd tell you yes. I'll even tell you right now, if you be as self-sufficient as you possibly can while living here, to whatever degree you want, right? Grow your own food, even make your own clothes, live far enough away, but close enough that you can access, water and electricity. These very vital resources that you can procure for yourselves, do it. In as much as, the doomsday situation can happen any fucking time now, right? I don't want to sound like a fucking Christian apologist, but really, just look at the fucking global economy and how fucked it is, right? The financial system is not even, it's just living off a fucking prayer right now, no matter where you are in the world. I don't know what's still holding up this financial system right now. It's probably just the massive amounts of debt that we keep putting into the system. That's it. But even that is collapsing. Even that's fucking collapsing. I mean, if COVID didn't show you, if the Suez Canal being blocked off for a week didn't show you, if the Ukraine fucking war didn't show you, I don't know what will. I really don't fucking know what will. Like, our sense of security is fucking false. Unless you're, part of the ultra rich who have already thought of this scenario and you already have like 3 bunkers in 3 different countries or something, the 99.9% of us are fucked. We're fucked. Where the fuck are you? If they turn off the transport for if they shut down food transport or medical supplies transport, what the fuck are you gonna do, right? You can choose whatever god you want to pray to, but they're not gonna do shit for you. They don't own the trucks, do they? They don't own the supply lines, do they? Right? We live in such a false fucking sense of security every day. And at the same time, you have to keep feeding into the fact that people are feeding into this delusion. You also have to feed into it by default, right? But I've said I'm not feeding into it anymore. I refuse. I fucking refuse. Like, it's literally, it's like a reflex at this point. I just can't. Like, I know stupid shit when I see it. What's the need to coddle people? And if you haven't noticed, we're coddling adults way more than we're doing for children nowadays. Way fucking more. The whole the whole debate around the Little Mermaid, the Black Little Mermaid, a few months ago, opened my eyes to just how much grown fucking adults have been coddled. It took a mermaid changing her skin color to cause an upsurge of fascism. Do you know how wild that is? Please just sit down and realize how fucking wild that is. Grown fucking adults with families and children and grandchildren were making hate groups on Facebook about a Black Little Mermaid. The woman who acted in that role is probably suicidal as fuck right now. It probably has been for a few months. Or since that whole shitstorm started. Right? Why and why? And this is something that fucking kills me about racism. Or about how people perpetuated. In the media, you don't see very many black characters in general. And it's not shocking, right? You know, in Western countries, most of the people are mostly white, European, whatever, right? They're going to produce content that is mostly reflective of that. And whatever content they do produce with like black characters, it's always a fucking trope. It's always a stereotype to some degree. You know, they never have the versatility of other characters, right? Whether it's in animation, whether it's in like real live action type stuff. And it's something that you'll find with people who are genuinely racist, like genuinely. Any type of, how would I say, any type of inclusion of black characters into a particular franchise or something will always stir up this vitriol from them. Racists don't want black people to live in their imagination. But at the same time, they're racist, so they still need them to exist. That's what fucking kills me. Like, I've seen it so, and you know, I watch a lot of anime, so I know this is such a fucking huge topic, especially with like cosplaying. You know, someone will dress up as Sasuke, someone will dress up as Ichigo, someone will dress up as like, you know, Sakura or whatever, right? But you know, it can't be somebody of a particular race, right? And the funny thing is, Japanese people themselves don't seem to be so embroiled in this argument. It's always people outside of Japan, fucking, like, just earthworms, fucking weebs, man. It really confuses me. Like, so why are you racist if you don't want black people to exist in your media, right? And that's the whole, this is like, I'm just taking one point of the entire fucking argument. Like, you know, there's many different arguments and strains of it, right? These people will hate seeing a black anime character, no matter how insignificant they are. Or even if they are significant, but they're somewhat problematic, like, you know... I love Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, and I've played them since I was a child, watched them, like, really just been engulfed in those medias. And I know that, you know, Mr. Popo and Jinx, especially when I grew up, I was like, nah, something, you know, that's a bit sus. You know, why are they drawn like that? You know, it's very, very sus, right? Like, even in Naruto, you know, Killer Bee is one of my fucking favorite characters. You know, they'll say, you know, it's a black guy rapping, but like, he's one of the strongest fucking ninjas in the entire fucking series, you know. I don't mind that he raps. I really don't. And, you know, this, it's still, like, it might sound like I'm digressing, but it's still on topic. It's one of those issues that reaffirms in my mind why the fuck I have no investments in this reality. You know, if this is my Black Air Force energy era, right? If this is the beginning of it, and I've been walking this path for quite a while now, so I know I'm committed to it for the long run. I'm here to watch these greedy, sick fucking people burn each other alive. And this is something that my own personal experience, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, I don't give a fuck. My own personal experience, you know, especially, you know, racially speaking, I find it strange how more, you know, Africans or just black people in general aren't antinatalist. I really find it fucking strange. It sometimes, I really believe, you know, we have to have some fucking type of mental illness, like generational mental illness, This world has fucking rejected you over and over and over again. Over and over and over again for like the past 600-700 years, and you're not getting the fucking point. You're just not getting the fucking point, right? You know, a lot of them were forced to breed, right? I can't say that. I can't really fully say that, you know. But at least since the 20th century happened, we can look and say, you know, I can look right now and say, whatever bigotry, whatever racial hierarchy people are invested in here, I say go for it. You have my fucking blessings. Put your all in it. It really seems history just, it does repeat itself. History does fucking repeat itself, you know? There was fascism 100 years ago, there's fascism right fucking now. There was economic downturn 100 years ago, there's economic downturn right now. Right? There was religious persecution 100 years ago, there's still religious persecution right now. How do people say history doesn't repeat itself, but it shut up. Fuck you. Shut up. Right? I'm really not one to go to spin myself in circles for somebody else's entertainment. Never. No matter who the fuck it is. You know, maybe I can summarize Black Air Force Energy in 3 points. Retaliation is always okay. Number 1. Always okay. That is something, first of all, that nobody can take from you. And second of all, that you deserve. You deserve to retaliate. Right? The key word is retaliation. And the second point, I would say is be selfish. Be fucking selfish. Selfish, okay? Selfish. Focus on you. I'm not saying go and backstab people, go and steal shit, go and like be a... It's funny I'm saying don't be a menace on a video about embracing Black Air Force Energy, but I mean this in the sense that yourself is one of the few things that can never be taken away from you. And if you haven't noticed, everything that is involved in our world right now is just about extracting your fucking life force in every way imaginable. We're playing a game of hot potato right now. Whatever entities are around, they'll understand what to take from you and how to take it from you and when to take it from you and how to keep it away from you and how to basically keep you like you're a rabbit chasing a carrot, right? Or you're just a fish constantly chasing the bait. So you really just have to keep everyone confused. You have to be selfish with your motives. With maybe not your motives, but your intentions. One of the two, right? I've already clarified, don't backstab people. And you might end up getting to a phase where you're just being rude with people, but you're not really being rude. You're just fed up, right? You're not only just fed up, but you're not really into feeding into their delusions. That's not being, maybe they consider that rude, right? That's the third point. Do not feed into anyone else's delusions, especially your own, right? Those are my 3 Black Air Force Energy commandments that I just came up with. But I think they're really good. I think they're a really good place to start. And I'm definitely going to find myself listening to this video a lot more often, because I need to reassure myself that, the path that I've committed myself on is a path that I only can understand, and I only can get any sense of satisfaction or accomplishment from it, right? And until you can accommodate for yourself to that level, it's not going to be, and once you realize just how much you've been doing it for other people, it is definitely going to stir up a lot of things, a lot of issues. That's fine, growing pains, just like my last video. That is what growing pains means to me. That's what it means, right? So if you do have a pair of black Air Force Ones, post them, film yourself stomping on some flowers or something, right? Give yourself a reason to be comfortable with yourself, even if it's just one reason, just that one reason, and then you hopefully you can find more, right?